Bowtie Boss here for Fight Combat Sports News. Today I'm talking about none other than Floyd Mayweather Jr. and his next opponent. Now there's been a huge to-do made about who his next opponent is going to be. He came out with that whole Twitter battle and Instagram and Facebook, and the rest of the internet's blowing up voting for who you want him to fight next. Only problem is you're given only two choices. You get Amir Khan, a guy who's lost 2 out of his last 4. I'm not sure why Amir Khan's even relevant at this point. And you get Maidana, the guy who just beat up Floyd's junior understudy in Adrian Broner. This presents a pretty tough picture here for who this next opponent's going to be in May. A lot of people ask, why not? Why these two guys? Why not a Sean Porter who just took Devon Alexander's welterweight title, or Kell Brook, or Keith Thurman, a big puncher at welterweight? And then since, hey, Floyd's the #1 fighter at junior middleweight, super welterweight as well, why not Erislandy Lara, who's the most avoided man on the face of the planet, or either of the Charlo brothers, or maybe, hey, James Kirkland would be a great fight. Here's the problem with all of that stuff. None of these guys are going to get Floyd Mayweather paid. He's Floyd Money Mayweather, everybody. He's not doing this shit for charity. He's not doing it for yours and mine entertainment. He's doing this to get paid. Why fight Amir Khan? Well, hell, Amir Khan, even though he's 2 out of his last 4, is an absolute superstar when it comes to UK fighting. British fans are maniacs. You saw the way that they went crazy when Floyd beat up on Ricky Hatton. You saw how they went crazy when Manny Pacquiao beat on Ricky Hatton. I mean, they will fly 10, 15,000 people into Vegas and just go absolutely crazy. They were going to be singing songs, drinking lagers, and getting into street fights all night long. That's why Amir Khan makes sense. Floyd can walk away from an Amir Khan fight with another $25, $30 million payday. Any of those other names I mentioned, look, unless the entire Cuban population buys the Erislandy Lara fight, nobody's going to make any money off of that thing. The only other fight that I mentioned that I could see some money getting made is James Kirkland. However, I say let that fight stew a little bit. He doesn't need to make that one right now. I would love to see it happen right now. Don't get me wrong. I'd rather see James Kirkland versus Mayweather instead of Amir Khan and Maidana. But it's just not going to happen right now. I think Floyd beats that guy pretty easily as well, but he's just such a maniac, such a monster, that it would be an interesting fight for as long as it goes. Then on to Maidana. I don't necessarily like this fight for Floyd. He's going to beat Maidana way too easily. The only reason Floyd would fight him is a way to say, hey, baby brother, I took care of your business for you. But what does that do to his baby brother and Adrian Broner? Now Broner can't get his revenge that he wants against Maidana. That puts both of them in a real sticky situation. I don't like the fight for Mayweather. I think it's too easy of a fight. I don't necessarily want to see it. The only reason the public would buy it and why it would become a money fight is because of what Broner and Maidana just went through. Now, Mayweather will beat Maidana way too easily, guys. This would be, I don't know if he'd stop him, but it'd be a 12-round, easy unanimous decision. I would call it 120-108. At least against an Amir Khan, a guy with some hand speed, a guy with some foot speed, 117, 110. Hey, he's not going to knock him out. Floyd is not a knockout kind of guy. And look, when Amir Khan's been knocked out, Bradis Prescott is a massive puncher. He's a power puncher. Danny Garcia, while he isn't necessarily a power puncher, he's a vicious counter puncher. And what Amir Khan was doing was going in for the kill. He's running in there recklessly. He's jabbing and leaving that right hand down. And look, Danny Garcia throws a vicious left hook, caught him right in the chin and neck area. Floyd's not going to throw that same punch, so I can't see Floyd knocking this guy out. But he will beat him, and he will beat him fairly easily, especially once he catches his timing. So which brings me to this. Why not Manny Pacquiao? Well, look, guys, Manny Pacquiao is fighting Tim Bradley here in April. So while Manny Pacquiao and Tim Bradley are fighting in April, Floyd's got this fight set up for May. That does leave Floyd's September date open, and I absolutely think he must. He absolutely must fight Manny Pacquiao in that fight. I'm probably one of the biggest Floyd fans there is as far as my generation is concerned, but there are limits to what we're willing to accept. I purposely cannot ever include Floyd in my top 10 all-time pound-for-pound list. I have a very hard time including him in my top 5 all-time welterweight list. Matter of fact, he's probably 7 or 8 in that list. The number one reason why I can't do that is because I haven't seen him in there against a top-flight fighter at welterweight. Manny Pacquiao would have been that guy a couple of years ago. He still might be that guy today. I don't really know, but Floyd absolutely must fight this guy in September, or he's going to lose all respect that he's already kind of ebbing away at some of his biggest fans. Now, he's 50-50, right? He's got the Floydiacs and he's got the Pactards that hate him and shit. I'm in neither one of those camps. Both of these camps, these Floyd maniacs, they'll say whatever they can, whatever they have to justify things, and they'll say, hey, he's beat Mosley, he's beat, Ricky Hatton, he's beat. Well, listen, Floyd Mayweather hasn't beat a viable opponent in a long time. I mean, when he beat Angel Manfredi, Manfredi was picked to win by about 30% of the boxing media. When's the last time that happened to Floyd? Well, let's see. He fought Diego Corrales, who was a 50-50. That was a fucking pick'em fight, and that was an amazing fight. Then he fought, Jose Luis Castillo twice. People were so worried at his first fight. Many people thought he lost. They didn't even think he would fight him a second time. He fought him a second time, and he beat him even easier. That's the last time that I can really say Floyd picked a very tough prime-level opponent. Yeah, Zab Judah was good, but he was coming off of a loss, and Zab Judah's just mentally not where Floyd is. DeMarcus Chop Chop Corley had come off a couple losses. Miguel Cotto was coming off of a loss and lost a little weight for this fight. But Floyd needs Pacquiao. He doesn't think he needs him. Monetarily, he doesn't. But as far as his legacy is concerned, he absolutely needs this guy. So Floyd is going to beat Khan or Maidana. I kind of hope he fights Khan, and look, it's a Khan. That's all it is. I don't think this fight needs to even happen. Maybe if he fights a Keith Thurman or something like that. But look, Floyd's got 4 fights left, and he needs to make as much money as possible. Showtime needs to make as much money as possible. Think about how much money they've spent on this contract. They cannot put him in there against somebody who's not going to draw, who's not going to bring in $150 million in revenue. They just can't afford to do something like that. So again, Floyd is going to have to fight Pacquiao in September. Here's an easy way that they can make it happen, and I caught this on Instagram. It's actually Boxing Highlights on Instagram. Go find these guys. He came up with a great thought, is that outside of this boxing Cold War, that Top Rank is on HBO and Golden Boy and Floyd are on Showtime, is Floyd has most of the titles that anybody wants, and Pacquiao is not right now a title holder. If he continues to not be a title holder, what will end up happening is he'll become a mandatory challenger. Now, as a mandatory, once it goes to purse bid, Oscar De La Hoya and Golden Boy Promotions will outbid everybody. And when they do that, Floyd automatically gets 75% of the purse bid. So if they bid $100 million, guess who walks away with 75 to Pacquiao's 25? I'm telling you, go on Boxing Highlights on Instagram and read about how he's laid this out. I don't want to take credit for that one at all. It's a great idea, and I hope either that or they just go the old-fashioned way. Hey, I want to fight you, you want to fight me. We both have a piece of paper, put our names on it, and let's go ahead and punch each other in the face. Albeit Pacquiao's going to get punched in the face a hell of a lot more than Floyd will, and Floyd's going to win that fight just as he would have won it years ago. It's the Bowtie Boss here for Fight Combat Sports News.